Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for our Teamfight Tactics. So, haven't been playing as many Teamfight Tactics games recently. We're getting closer to the end of the set. It's still about 40 days away as I'm recording this video, but feels like we've kind of seen most of the content in this set. There's probably not going to be a lot of surprises yet to come, so I haven't been playing as many games, but wanted to play the occasional game, and this one went well, so I figured I'd just toss some footage up on the channel. And we're going to look at another game here. This game is going to be playing through Innovators, it's going to be playing through the Scrap trait, and it's going to feature Jhin eventually as the carry unit. So pretty standard stuff that I've done in a lot of other videos, but again, wanted to use this opportunity to just talk a little bit about the gameplay as it exists in the current state and as it should be changing in the near future. Now, a bit unfortunately, this video is going to be outdated before it even gets posted because this video was played on the very last day before a patch came out, and by the time that you see this video, that new patch will already be out. You see a kind of a dream start here, getting an Ezreal with a sword off the starting carousel, and then getting two more Ezreals in the very first shop. So this is good stuff to be getting here. This is just very obviously leans into playing both Scrap and Innovator with our Ezreal's two traits. But by the time this video gets posted on YouTube, you will see that there is already, in the new patch that has come out since this game was played, some pretty decent changes. Not an enormous patch. I'm going to take Weak Spot here over the Mutant Crest and the Threes Company. So you will see some changes in the most recent patch, the one that's live, the one that this game was not played on. And in particular, the big change that should be in that patch is Scrap trait is supposedly getting nerfed. Scrap 2 is going to have its shield value cut pretty significantly, or has already had it done if you're watching this video. Scrap has been really dominant all throughout set 6.5. I don't remember it being that dominant in set 6. I feel like I've said this a number of times, I feel like the balance was quite a bit better overall in set 6 than in set 6.5. But for various reasons in set 6.5, Scrap has been a high-performing trait in almost every single patch version. So it looks like the designers are finally really looking to go after the trait. They've nerfed a number of the units that were Scrap units, but they haven't really gone after the trait itself. And that's a little bit of what they're doing here in the patch that you will be seeing, but not this one. So this is kind of like the last gasp of Scrap being a really strong trait. All right, so what do we actually have here? So again, I made the 2-star Ezreal early. I've also found a Blitzcrank. I have picked up a Ziggs and a Singed in the shop. If I can find another Innovator, I'd be happy to play Innovators. I actually have an extra bodyguard in the game right now. I have 3 bodyguards, but even though 3 bodyguards, of course, doesn't do anything for me, I couldn't find a better unit to play than the Poppy there. I figured Poppy having bodyguard 2 was better than any of the other options, better than playing a Singe that wouldn't make Innovators straight, better than playing a Ziggs who wouldn't make Scrap 3 or wouldn't put Arcanist in play. So I figured the Poppy with bodyguard 3 was still better than any of the other options. And it looks like this is going to be a relatively easy win against this other player who is clearly going to go into Debonair because they picked up the very VIP for their initial augment. I, as mentioned before, picked up Weak Spot. I'm quite happy with getting Weak Spot. This plays flexibly into a lot of AD comps, and it's just kind of a good pick overall. So here I managed to find the Zillion in the shop, so I decided I will go ahead and play into Innovators for the time being, while keeping the Ziggs in my store to leave myself the 4 Scrap options if an early Echo would happen to pop up in the store. So again, I'm keeping an eye out on all these other team comps. I believe there's one other person who's playing something similar to me, and I thought it was a little bit better to be on right side as opposed to left side. I did get 2 Vexes that were dropped from the early minion rounds. I ended up selling both of those. There's actually another Vex here in the shop, so if I had different starting items, this could have been a really good team comp to play into with like the Vex Arcanist build, but with a sword off the initial carousel and a bow dropping from the first minion round, that's not really a comp that you're going to look to play Arcanist into. I thought that my board was very strong. I thought I had one of the strongest boards, but I do end up losing to this player, which makes sense. This is the built different player. They have gold built different, the gold version of built different, with no, if you have no traits active, your units get a huge amount of health and a big attack speed buff. So I'm not going to be able to win that round early. That's like, there's just no way to win that round early on. I do get a nice shop here though, so this is pretty nice. I find another Blitzcrank, I find another Ziggs, I find 2 Camille's in the shop, and Camille is a useful unit because she would put Clockwork trait in play. Also provide a little bit more frontline, which this comp is somewhat lacking. So I do want all these units. I'm just going to buy them all. I'm going to pre-level to level 5. Normally you'd want to try to get to level 10 here, but didn't seem like there was a realistic way to do that. So instead of selling everything, having an empty bench, and being at 10 gold, I decided it was better to pre-level here, take the econ hit, and load up on a bunch of units that are hopefully units I'll be able to play. Again, I want the Ziggs for the option to play into 4 scrap. I already have a Blitzcrank on my bench, and Camille should be the next unit in, unless I would find an Echo, because she'll put Clockwork trait in play. That person was playing a Mutants board, and the mutant trait in this game I remember was Omnivamp, not seen as being one of the strongest mutant traits. Typically better if you splash it into the trait as opposed to going heavy into mutants. We will have a carousel coming up here though. Remember, I have a sword on Ezreal. Ezreal is rolling a scrap item. I've got a bow on my bench, so I was thinking I would really like to get a glove here. That maybe I could make less Whisper and keep rolling a sword item on Ezreal. That would certainly be nice. So I see that there's an Echo on the carousel. That's my top choice. Also would not mind getting another sword or another bow, so I can look to keep itemizing the Ezreal. The Echo is still there, but oh, it gets taken. So I was like, all right, out of these other options, I'm going to take the bow. I don't think the rods do that much for me. I'm not looking for another frontline item right now because I don't really have a frontline unit that would roll a scrap item if I were to put it on them. And so that cloak can still go into something else later on. So I will take the bow, and I actually hit Ziggs 2-star here. So now I have to decide, do I want to play the Blitzcrank or do I want to play the Ziggs? And I thought about this. I was like, I think I actually want to play the Ziggs 2-star just because that is a 2-star unit over the Blitzcrank. So I'll slot that in. And because I have double bows, I'm going to go ahead and make Giant Slayer and then put the recurve bow on Ezreal. Now, Giant Slayer, not a great early game item. Remember, it has to, enemy units have to hit that health threshold in order for Giant Slayer to do its additional damage. That's why it's called Giant Slayer. I believe it's 1800. They have to be over 1800 health, and like very few units are going to trigger that threshold early in the game. That said, though, I still want to make this item because that way Ezreal will get another scrap item, and I really do want to make use of the sword and the bow. I don't want to have 2 bows and I don't want to have a sword on Ezreal and then 2 bows just sitting on the bench not doing anything. I want to use these items. This way, Ezreal will have the Giant Slayer. He will roll a bow scrap item every round. He rolled Static Shiv that round, which is a great item to roll in the early game. And so making use of those items is going to make me a lot stronger. We're able to win that round relatively easily, and my board is all 1-stars aside from Ezreal, but, you know, Ezreal will carry pretty hard this early in the game, and then he'll start to fall off. He's getting boosted by Scrap Trait, and he's getting boosted by Clockwork Trait, so he's got a lot of stuff working in his favor. And outside of the Built Different comp, which, you know, you don't really expect to beat a Built Different comp on Stage 2, not if it's the Gold or Prismatic version. The Silver version's not as strong, but Gold and Prismatic are really strong in the early game. Aside from that, you know, I'm pretty happy with how things are going here. If we can win against this round, which looks like it's some kind of challenger round, I'll be reasonably happy with how things are going. And it's also good news that that one round that I did lose was relatively early. It would have been better if it had been the very first round of the game, but at least it was the second round, so it looks like I'll be able to go into the minion round with a nice little 3-match win streak here and on 96 HP. So that's a really good result coming out of Stage 2. And I'm off to a good start, which is what you'd expect if you hit the 2-star Ezreal that easily. So had good luck. I still have my options open in this game at the moment too. I could go into the Sivir build that's very popular in this current version of Teamfight Tactics. I did a video on this a week or two ago. That is the 4 scrap plus 4 striker build for Sivir. So like if I get like a Quicksilver Sash and a Rage Blade or something like that, I could look to go into Sivir. Although I guess since I had the Giant Slayer, it would have to be Giant Slayer, Last Whisperer, and then one of Quicksilver Sash or Rage Blade. Now, I've already indicated from the title of this video and from my early commentary that I'm not going to end up playing Sivir because I just wouldn't end up seeing Sivirs like at all in this game. But that was a possibility if I had wound up seeing some Sivirs, but that did not end up happening in this game. I actually do have the items for the Quicksilver Sash right now, but I wanted to make the Last Whisperer. And that's because Last Whisper is a good item on Sivir, it's a good item on Jhin, it's a good item on Aurelia, or on Jinx, any of those units which could be played. So this is kind of AD flex, but based on what I end up seeing, it ends up playing Jhin. And Last Whisper really good because it just gets that armor shred for you. Okay, so I also have the pieces for a frontline item. I want to make some kind of frontline item. Out of the different options I had, I decided that I would rather make Gargoyle Stoneplate over anything else. Since I don't have a lot of frontline units, this is a fairly good choice because I can look to solo frontline one of my units. I do wish that I had a better unit to put this on than a 1-star Camille, but that is the best choice that I can make for the moment, so I will look to toss that on there. And Camille's really just holding this for a later unit. Maybe later on I will be able to play Jace, maybe I'll be able to play Braum or something like that. I'm sure I can find someone to hold this. All right, I'm up against someone who took the I can't remember what the name of this augment is, but it's the one that gives you additional income. It like gives you champions at the start of the game. So they've used that to be very, very rich. They basically are down a gold augment, but they're very rich. They're level 6 with 50 gold in the bank on 3-1. They also have lost not too much health, but they've lost some health. So they already went to level 6. And I was a little bit sad that I lost that round because I would have won that round if I had also been level 6. For sure I win that round if I'm level 6 because it was so close. But in order to level, so I could have kept the win streak, but I would have had to sink 16 gold into leveling on 3-1. And I don't think that would have been worth it because you can see even after delaying the level up here, leveling up on 3-2, which is kind of the standard timing, I'm still only on 28 gold. I would have dropped down to like 10 gold in the bank if I'd leveled up on the previous round, and I didn't want to do that. So even though it would have been nice to keep that win streak going, it was a very close loss, and I didn't want to look into leveling that early. All right, this person is playing a bodyguards comp. This person is also running Rich Get Richer. So there's some people who are very rich in the lobby. This person, what is it? They have 96 HP and they're playing Rich Get Richer and they're level 6 with 50 gold in the bank, at least 50. They might have more than that because they're playing Rich Get Richer. So I was very glad that I won that round, at least stop them from win streaking. I was like, Jesus Christ, this person's rich. And the Built Different player hasn't lost yet either. So I was like, oh man, there's some rich people in this lobby. I'm playing more of like a standard setup here. So I get these choices. It's a silver augment for the second one. I don't really like any of these. I guess I could go for 4 score and just roll for different champions. That would of course mean that I basically don't have a silver augment afterwards. I would just, hope to roll something good. I really don't like these augments. I wish they weren't in the game. I'm going to end up taking Phalanx instead because I wanted to get like some kind of actual value for my team comp. So I'm going to take Phalanx, which provides extra armor and magic resistance to the units in the back 2 rows. And I figured that I probably can get more use out of that than anything else. You saw me look at all these different boards. I was looking at it for electrostatic to see if a lot of people had crit stuff, and most people did not have crit stuff. So I ended up not taking electrostatic since it is based, basically it deals damage based on when other teams critically strike you. And there wasn't a lot of that in the lobby. So I take Phalanx, which is kind of like a generic choice. It's going to add up extra armor, magic resist for the backlines. I think it's better early game than late game. I don't love it, but I thought it was the best of the options. So yeah, with regards to the various augments that just like give you random stuff, whether that's orbs or champions, I really don't like them because it just adds another huge RNG element into the game. I understand that that's part of the choice is like picking whether you want to play into the randomness or not, but I just don't think they're very interesting augments. There were a lot more of them in set 6.5, and when I do my retrospective at the end of the set, it's one of the things that I'm planning on writing about, which is introducing more RNG in places where it wasn't needed. These augments that give you loot orbs or give you champions, they're not very interesting from like a design standpoint, and they just introduce a lot more randomness. So I really wish that they just didn't exist and weren't part of the game. Like they don't feel good when you take them and then you get nothing of value. Like you often can just take them and get nothing useful out of them. Or sometimes someone gets them and they just like hit super duper hard, and it's not like they really did anything in particular to earn it. They just got lucky. So I prefer the augments that, had like more normal values to them. Anyway, enough about that. So we have a carousel. I have third pick again. I'm going to take the glove here. Glove is very flexible again. It could be, if I get a sword, it could be Infinity Edge, which of course always has great synergy with Last Whisper. It could also be a Quicksilver Sash, which would also be a good choice here. Those are probably the two. I guess the only other semi-realistic thing would be if I were to get like a Hand of Justice, but that doesn't feel all that great. So I'm hoping for sword or cloak, and we'll make something out of them, but nicely flexible item. I've also gone ahead and picked up a Kha'Zix here because I can potentially play Kha'Zix in this team comp as well. By the way, nice Shroud of Stillness there. Israel rolls the scrap Shroud of Stillness to shroud the entire enemy team. But Kha'Zix is nice here because that can give me Assassin trait along with the Echo that I have now put into the board. You might have noticed that I went ahead and took the Camille out. I went ahead and dropped Clockwork trait because I made a 2-star Singed on the previous round. And I need more frontline in this comp. My frontline's pretty weak, so I went ahead and sold Camille so I could put the Gargoyle Stoneplate on Singed. I'm hoping to transfer that item to a better unit long term. This is also a fight where Weak Spot did an immense amount of work because that person had underdogs in, and they were healing for an awful lot throughout that round. So without the Weak Spot, there's no way I would have won that round. I go ahead and sell the Camille because if I'm going to put Clockwork back in, it's going to be with Orianna or Jhin. It's not going to be with putting Camille. It's late enough in the game that Camille is not going to go back in. I'm unlikely to 2-star Camille, and I'm not going to play a 1-star Camille at this point. I also see that someone is playing Jhin, which is not great because Jhin is one of the units that I'm looking to play into. So far, I really have not seen much in the way of 4-cost units. I'm trying to be flexible here, but have not really seen any of them to base my team around. Also, notice who I'm up against here. I'm up against the Build Different player. This person's level 7, 0 gold. They went to level 7 early, and they rolled it all the way down to 0. So, like, this person is being super aggressive in this lobby. They clearly want to keep win streaking. And, I mean, they're going to preserve the win streak, but I don't know that they needed to melt down their economy quite that badly. So, yeah, I will lose this round, but I don't know if it was such a good idea to go all the way down to 0 gold. They didn't really find a great 4-cost carry. I guess they found one Aurelia, but they didn't hit any legendary units. And given how hard they were win streaking, I really don't think that they had to be that aggressive. So, a very bizarre strategy. Unfortunately, this stage 3 was not as good as stage 2. I did not have a great pattern from a streaking perspective. Loss, win, loss, win, loss. That's pretty terrible as far as getting additional income. It's not what you want. And I didn't really find any of the units that I was looking for. I was hoping I could get, as I said, early Sivir, early Jhin, early Aurelia, get one of them and then build my comp around them. But I have not had that happen just yet. And then here I'm trying to sell some of the units. Well, I go ahead and get a sword out of the minion round, so that kind of settles the question of what this last item is going to be. It's going to be Infinity Edge here, and because it's Infinity Edge, that means I'm leaning towards playing Jhin, because Jhin is going to get better use out of these items than other carries. Again, Aurelia would not be terrible. You could play Sivir with these items. It wouldn't be awful playing Sivir with these, but they're not quite the items that she likes. She wants a little bit more in the way of attack speed, generally speaking. So could play these items, but they're not ideal. They are ideal for Jhin. These are kind of his best in slot items, honestly. The Infinity Edge Last Whisper for sure. Remember that he gets that automatic crit on the last shot of his ultimate, so he always does well with crit stuff. And then it's typically seen as his third item, either Giant Slayer or Quicksilver Sash. In this fight, I am up against the Jhin player, and oh, look at this. The Kha'Zix, remember how I just tossed in that Kha'Zix? Yep, well, Kha'Zix jumps on the Jhin, and that is going to be the difference in this fight, because I am pretty sure I would not beat this person without that. Yeah, this person's only level 6, but they've already got a Jhin. I'm like, wait, what? How do you have Jhin already? Aren't you level 6? I guess it just popped up in the shop at 5% odds, and sometimes that does happen. So the Build Different player finally lost a round. They finally lost to someone else, and then I see this Seraphine pop up. So I have the question of, do I want to play the Kha'Zix or do I want to play the Seraphine? I decide I want to play the Seraphine for the time being. Just because, again, my weakness is frontline, and this is going to help me with frontline. I will hold the Kha'Zix, though, because if I see a bunch of Kha'Zix, I can legitimately look to just play Kha'Zix. He is an option in this team comp. These would be quite good Kha'Zix items as well. Not ideal. The Infinity Edge Last Whisper, good. Typically, for a third item, you'd either want something like Rapid Fire Cannon, which would increase his range to 2 tiles, or some innate healing. Although I could potentially also play into Mutant Omnivamp if I end up playing through him. All right, anyway, enough of that. So we'll hold the Kha'Zix for right now. This person that I'm up against is a 2-star Aurelia with very good Aurelia items. They've actually rolled a Scrap Infinity Edge. So I was like, well, not beating this person. I have no idea how this person has 2-star Aurelia at level 7. I guess they just hit. And they are playing Junkyard with Scrap traits. So they're going to be scaling up on items. So I was like, oh, that person's going to be strong in the long run. If they hit the 2-star Aurelia that easily, I guess they were lost streaking and got a lot of money off that. And the Built Different player quit the lobby. They lost one round and then quit the lobby. So I don't know if that's a rage quit or what, or something. Also, a lot of people in this lobby have gone in super duper hard. So we saw that one person who was Built Different rolled it down at level 7. This person here is level 7, rolled it down. This person's level 7, rolled it down. And another person's already gone level 8 and rolled it down. So like all these people have just been super aggressive about rolling down early. I was like, oh man, wow, this is not great. I'm glad I banked all that health in stage 2 and in stage 3. I did go loss, win, loss in stage 3, but most of my losses were not bad losses. They were generally pretty close. But I definitely need to roll and get stronger here because the Ezreal is not going to be able to carry much longer. This person here is playing VIP Brand, but they don't appear to be going for 3-star Brand. Now, the Brand is absolutely torching me in this fight. But that person's also level 7, 10 gold. So, yeah, they hopefully will not get much stronger. But it was just really noticeable that this lobby had super fast pace. It was like many people going all in and spending all of their economy very early, much earlier than you normally see. So this was me. I was like, all right, I guess I have to adapt to the pace of this lobby because everybody's going in all in and rolling it down really early on. So I guess I've got to definitely have to do the same here and get stronger. On this carousel, I am somehow last pick again. Oh, I guess I'm not last pick because the Built Different player quit the lobby. So I guess I'm third pick. And I decided that I would take the Chain Vest out of these items. Didn't really need another offensive item. Thought maybe if I get a tier, then I can make like Frozen Heart on Echo. I just had to make sure that I didn't already have 2 Echoes on my bench because I did not want a Locket. And it looks like that is not the case. So let's go ahead and get to level 8. I don't have as much gold as I'd like to roll with here, but I do have a Jhin. So that's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and see if we can play that. I also had another Seraphine. I hit a Kai'Sa there. I don't think I'm playing into Kai'Sa, and I see a Sivir, but at this point I don't really have Sivir items because I've got all this crit stuff. So I'm going to put in the Jhin, and then I'm going to put in the Aurelia and the replacement. Wow, running out of the names here. Ezreal, the replacement Ezreal. I don't want to commit my items yet, though, because I really want to see, am I going to play through Aurelia or am I going to play through Jhin? So I'm going to hold all my crit items for like 1 round here and see if I can see whether I'm going to get more of one unit as opposed to more of the other unit. I don't really expect to win this round because all my items are on the bench. But it turns out that the Caitlyn, who's kind of like the big damage dealer, popped the Seraphine over here, did not pop my Jhin. So Jhin is still alive. And I'm actually going to win this fight, which I really did not deserve to win, but I guess that person had not gone all in and rolled it down yet. That person probably should be a bit more aggressive because they're still sitting there with Rich Get Richer and like 60 gold in the bank. All right, here I've got a couple of different options. I tend to like Stand United, but I decided that I would look to go for the Phalanx and just double up on the Phalanx. I also find a Zeri here, so I was like, oh man, is there any way I can play Zeri? I would really like to play Zeri. I end up not really seeing a way to play her. I actually have a VIP Zeri here, but I don't see how I get Debonair into this trait. I think that if I were to do this again, I would consider dropping down maybe to Innovator 3 and then playing Leona plus some other Innovator, or some other Debonair unit, excuse me, and then that maybe could have gotten the unit into the... Because like I could replace two of my Innovators or 2 of my scrap units with Zeri plus some other Debonair stuff. Maybe that would have been an option, but for the time being, I decided to hold here, and I decided to itemize Jhin because I found a second Jhin. So because I have 2 out of 3 Jhin, I'm going to itemize Jhin and not Aurelia. I think he's a little bit more consistent anyway. So now I've doubled up on Phalanx. As I've said, I think Phalanx is better early game than late game. That said, though, that sometimes these augments do get better if you can like stack them up. So like while Phalanx 1 or like the silver Phalanx might not be that great, if I have silver and gold Phalanx, That actually adds up to quite a bit of armor and magic resistance. I believe it's 25 armor and MR for the silver version and 35 for the gold. So that's 60 armor and 60 MR for every unit in the back 2 rows, which is most of my board. Here I'm going to lose to the other Jhin person because they have Jhin 2-star, which is kind of sad. I can't say I'm shocked about that. They have 2-star Jhin, I have 1-star Jhin, but if I can find one more, and then it's like, oh yeah, there's the Jhin. Okay. So at this point I was like, all right, I hit 2-star Jhin, I hit 2-star Seraphine. I think the plan is go level 9 and play Zeri. I still have 41 HP left, so I think I've got decent odds to get there. I don't think rolling more is going to help me, because most of my board is 2-starred. I guess Aurelia would be nice, but I only have 1 Aurelia, and there's a number of them out of the pool. So I don't think that rolling more here is going to do that much to help me in this lobby. And the odds of hitting like Jace or Jinx or something are relatively low as we get our last item drops here. So yeah, overall, oh, and now the sadness. I've put the chain vest on the Aurelia. If I had just waited and held off one more round, which I could have done, I could have made a Frozen Heart on Echo, and then I could have put the bow on Aurelia so that she rolled a bow scrap item, which would have been much more useful. So that was me. I should have been just a tiny bit more patient, waited to see if that tier came out, and then I could have had Frozen Heart on Echo, which would have been really good. That is, Frozen Heart actually has been nerfed since the time this game was played and the time you were watching this video, because Frozen Heart Echo was so strong it was causing a lot of grief for everybody. Specifically him delivering that Frozen Heart into the backlines. All right, this time we are up against someone who's playing Renata plus Bruisers, and here is where the value of that Giant Slayer on Jhin really kicks in. So because this person's playing Bruisers, they have a lot of high health targets, and the Giant Slayer just does, you know, immense damage. And this, Jhin just one-shotted the Renata in that fight. So that is the one place where the Giant Slayer is really good. It's not good against some of these team comps, but it is great against that particular team comp. And by the way, who is still win streaking? It's still the person who hit that super early 2-star Aurelia. I can't say I'm terribly surprised, but that person is on 33 health and they're win streaking off the Aurelia. The Aurelia board is kind of weird because like Aurelia is hard to predict. She's just going to like dash around and that person looks like they're going to level 9. That's going to be trouble. Like Aurelia is going to dash around, and whether I can win that fight is largely dependent on whether Jhin just happens to target Aurelia, and that's just kind of random as far as where he shoots. I'm going to position Ezreal up here. He's still in the back 2 rows for failings. That's because one of these boards had a Kha'Zix that could potentially be jumping. And oh, it turns out that I am going to be up against the Aurelia player. But oh, look at that. Singe is going to get the fling on Aurelia. That's pretty nice because that's 2 seconds where she's not dashing around killing stuff. So it's just like, all right, Jhin, can you hit Aurelia with your shots? It's just random. He did hit her and triggered her Bloodthirster, so now she's on top of the Jhin. Come on, Jhin. Oh, we got another Zilean time bomb. There we go. So fortunate RNG there. Singe getting the fling, Zilean getting a time bomb, Jhin doing a pretty good job of targeting Aurelia. So we actually win and interrupt that person's win streak, which is really nice because they had been at least on a 4-match win streak as they were looking to go to level 9. So just stopping them from having all that gold and letting them roll, that's going to be pretty nice. Anyway, I'm slowly trying to make it to level 9 myself, not because I need to roll a lot of gold there. I literally just need to get 9 so I can toss in Zeri. She will make Sniper trait, and it's just, again, a useful unit. She's also not the most consistent unit because of the way she flings herself around in the fights, but just having Zeri in there would be pretty nice. This person, by the way, this person is playing Rich Get Richer. They've gone all the way to level 9. They've got 50 gold, but like they really should have been more aggressive about going to level 9 because they're down on 2 HP. And like they still have 30 gold in the bank. They're still trying to roll, but I don't know if they're going to have an opportunity to do that. If they lose here, they're just out of the game and all that money is going to go to waste. So I was worried about this person because they did hit 2-star Galio, but it was like, wait a minute, where's the damage in this comp? I mean, they got a tanky Galio, but who's the carry? I guess it's the Kaisa, but she's only 1-star and her items are not that good. So yeah, we're just going to win and knock this person out. They should not have been that greedy with their Rich Get Richer. They had a ton of money, but it looks like they just sat at like 70 gold in the bank as they tried to go to level 9, and they bled out so much health they never had time to put their board together. So that is definitely being too greedy. I mean, this is a normal game, so it's like whatever, but a lot of people don't take the normal games very seriously. So someone trying to greed their economy, and they just ran out of health before they could put their board together. Anyway, there wasn't a ton that I wanted on here. I thought maybe the Zeke's for Jhin, although Zeke's is not as important for Jhin. He just converts it into more damage due to the way his passive works. He doesn't actually get the attack speed. But I thought there was a better option than that, and that being the Assassin emblem. So I was like, all right, well, you know what? Let's just make Aurelia into an Assassin. That feels pretty good. How about we do that? I've had a lot of success with Assassin Aurelia in some of these past fights. So I am up against the Renata Bruiser's player, and I was like, oh, I know I'm up against this player. So since I know I'm going to hit this person, why don't I position this Aurelia, who is now an assassin, to jump into the back lines and just jump right onto the Renata from the start of the fight. Now, she'll give up the Spotlight, but Spotlight 1's not going to do that much. So I was like, all right, come on, Aurelia. Do your assassin thing, go get that Renata. And I was like, wait a minute. Why did Aurelia not jump into the back line? She didn't, if you were watching her. She literally just stood there. And she rolled Edge of Night, which is not a bad item to roll, but like she did not get into the back line. She did not pull aggression onto the Renata. And that's actually going to cost me this fight, which is super close, but it actually is going to cost me this fight because she would have jumped onto Renata and killed her, and then Renata would not have done 6,000 damage. So I was like, wait, what? Why did she not jump into the backline? Did I miss something here? By the way, I'm going to get a Jace here, so I will put him on. I will just sell the Singed. Even though this is a 1-star Jace, it's still a better unit. And now I'm trying to check here. I was like, Aurelia? Wait, what? And there's also a Jinx here. I'd love to play the Jinx, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to play this unit. I was like, why is Aurelia, is she going to jump into the back lines or what? I don't know. So I'm just trying to figure this out. But I'm watching this other board, and I see that there's a Kha'Zix that's going to be played on the Socialite Spotlight. So I was like, great. You play him over on the Spotlight. Don't have him jump on top of Jhin. I am very happy to have the Kha'Zix jumping on top of Blitzcrank, which is a much less dangerous position. So Kha'Zix is going to fly over next to Jhin, but oh, another Zillion Time Bomb. And of course, Kha'Zix not the most reliable carry, so Kha'Zix just going to get sniped. So that was pretty nice fight RNG to get the Time Bomb onto the Kha'Zix. Now it's only the Kai'Sa that we have to worry about. I'm like, Jhin, shoot the Kai'Sa. Jhin, shoot the Kai'Sa. Jhin, shoot the Kai'Sa. All right, we'll kill the Cho'Gath first. Let's kill the Cho'Gath with 5,000 HP first. Then we'll kill the Kai'Sa. Once again, Weak Spot doing a tremendous amount of work in that fight, both to cut through the armor and also to stop the healing on the enemy team. But now I'm like, what's going on? I know I was watching Aurelia. She didn't jump into the back line. So for some reason, the Assassin emblem is not doing anything. It's just like bugged out. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening here. What I should have done is I should have pulled Aurelia up all onto my bench and then put her back onto the board again to see if that fixed this. I've just never seen this bug before. And I've never heard anyone mentioning it. So it looks like something went wonky in the code here. So yeah, I took the Assassin emblem and it's just doing nothing, which is kind of a big deal because Assassin Aurelia would really help me out a lot. Anyway, I'm going to sell the Jinx to get closer to level 9. I probably should have held for one more round, but because I picked up a Death Cap, I think I want to play Zeri, not play Jinx. The Death Cap, there's no one on my board who can use Death Cap, except Zeri, because she does mixed physical and magic damage. There's only 3 of us still left in this lobby, so I was like, all right, well, I'm guaranteed to be up against the Aurelia player. That person now is a 2-star Jace. That's pretty scary. So I was like, all right, well, I hope I have good fight RNG again. I don't have especially good frontline. This person's all about the Aurelia, so if there's any chance we can pop the Aurelia, we can win this fight. But if we don't pop the Aurelia, it's going to be ugly, because that's what we need. And unfortunately, my frontline is going to disintegrate pretty quickly here. And Jhin is shooting at Morgana, is not shooting at the Aurelia, and that fight goes poorly, so we're going to drop down to 15 HP. And hey, that Aurelia comp is back on a 4-match win streak again. So it's like, I guess I'm the only one who can beat this comp. Now, I did think about playing the Braum. Braum would give me bodyguard and would also help me with frontline. But I had the Zeri, so I go ahead and look to play the Zeri. I probably should have picked up Braum's just for a frontline option because like 2-star Braum would not be bad to put in this comp. If I had like 2-star Braum, I would definitely play that over 1-star Zeri. But for now, we're going to play the Zeri, and she will add a little bit of additional damage and also get the sniper trait in play. So I don't know who I'm going to be up against. I'm really hoping it's the Renata Bruiser comp, which I think I am much stronger against than that Aurelia comp, and it looks like that is the case. This is a ghost round, so a little bit good news here, the fact that this is a ghost round. I could have hit either of the 2 opponents. I hit the comp that I think is the easier of the 2 matchups for me. Really nice ults from Seraphine. I should mention that she's doing a lot in these fights as well to keep Jhin alive. And it looks like this time the front lines held up long enough for us to bust through and win this. Now, the sad news is, as a ghost round, I don't deal any damage to the other team. But the good news is I don't take any damage either. There's another Jinx. And the game apparently really wanted me to play Jinx because I'm seeing all these Jinxes. I'm like, oh man, Jinx. This is like one time I'm not playing Jinx because I've got the 2-star Aurelia. But yeah, maybe I could have played Jinx. Here's another break of good fortune, though. I am up against Renata Bruisers again. So I said this is the easier of the two comps for me. And I get the matchup with this comp again, 2 rounds in a row. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not really going to reposition because I won pretty easily in the Ghost round. So let's just hold in the same positions again. I really wish that I had Assassin Aurelia to just jump in the back lines and jump on top of Renata. Guess we're not going to get that, but as long as the front line holds up for any length of time, Jhin is going to kill all these units. Also, Zeri kicking in a little bit of damage as well. She's a little bit inconsistent because of the way she dashes around, kind of pin-pricking the enemy team, but she's actually going to get this done, and we're going to win this round. And, oh, look at that. It looks like my Ghost has ended up winning the other round, and my Ghost has actually taken out the other player. So we didn't see that, but my Ghost ended up winning both of those rounds and knocks out both of the other players simultaneously. So it's going to be a first place finish, even though I hadn't played this game in a week or almost a week. I had last played it on our Friday games. So yeah, nothing too crazy in this game, like not like some new wild team composition that you haven't seen before. I do think that the double phalanx helped me out a lot because I think that I had, like 7 of my 9 units were getting the phalanx bonus, and like 60 armor and MR on all of them did add up to a lot. In any case though, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time, take care.